spending money on pointless junk. So give the gift that will last all year long. That'll be me. So deck the halls with red and silver and shine like Divina. Believe your Christmas dreams until they all come true for you and you and you. So light the lights with red and silver.
Hi, Divina.
Hello! How lovely to be here with you.
Welcome. Christmas.
Christmas, the snow's coming down. I'm watching it fall.
Talk to me, Divina De Campo. When was Divina born?
Oh, Divina is about 10 years old, so she's just about to head to high school. She's very nervous about it. But I'd been doing drag for sort of 5-6 years before that. Before Divina, I was called Madame Faracina. She very Italian, she talk like this all the time. And nobody could understand what she said, and nobody could say her name. So we dropped a chandelier on her head and killed her.
R.I.P.
Bye, bitch. So then Divina was born. We held a Name the Drag Queen competition at the club that we were running at the time, which was called The Factory. We'd moved from the club, and the venue that we moved into had been called The Place. I mean, it's almost like in Stoke-on-Trent. They just like really simple names. I mean, The Place was actually the place, because Stoke used to be, Hanley particularly, used to be the clubbing mecca for the Midlands. And The Place had huge, huge stars in there, like the Rolling Stones, Stevie Wonder, you know, like massive stars. And then that closed down, and we opened it up a number of years later. And so I was performing on the same stage every Saturday and Friday night as all of these other, all of these amazing people. Then there was me. But she was born there. We held her Name the Drag Queen competition there. And I think that a drag queen's name, it's really important for you to kind of give an idea of what it is that you're going to be doing, you know? So Divina is Italian for divine. Maria Callas was called La Divina. Then, of course, you've got Divine herself, one of the most famous drag queens ever. And then De Campo, because people had always said, oh, isn't she camp? So I was like, well, there's a little bit of alliteration. It sounds camp and fun, but it also gives you, you know, there's something else going on here. And, you know, similarly, Myra Dubois' name operates in the same way. You know, Myra, who was on Britain's Got Talent this year, because who's the most famous Myra? Well, the Myra that nobody wants to know. And Myra's humor is very like cutting and dangerous. She is dangerous. So, you know, I think that your name should give an indication of what it is that you actually do. And thankfully, most drag queens in the UK do have a name which does that.
It's like an art form in itself, choosing a name then.
Yeah, I think so because I mean it's just the same as picking a name for a show. You know, Fiddler on the Roof, if they called it a random Jewish man with a violin, it doesn't quite have the same, it's not quite the same thing, is it? You know, so Les Mis, you know it's going to be a miserable show, but it's French. Of course it's going to be miserable. Let's go have a great time being miserable with these French people. Hooray! So it needs to tell you what's going to happen.
Talk us through your training and your background.
So like as a kid, obviously I was doing all of the Amdram stuff that I could possibly do. I was going to ballet class and modern, quick, do a shuffle ball change. Something. Yeah, exactly. And then character. So I was doing all of those things. I didn't do tap though, which is a major flaw in my dance education. I suck at tap dancing, big style. When I was about 27, I went to an adult beginners class, and she goes, okay, so we're going to do a shuffleboard change followed by a triple time step and a da-da-da, da-da. And I'm like, Is this not a beginner's class? What are you even talking about? I don't know what any of this stuff is. And I'm saying to her, I don't know what that is. And she went, what do you mean? I went, well, I've never done tap before. That's why I came to beginner's class. But she knew I was a dancer. And she was like, what? And I was like, I've never done tap before. That's why I came to the beginner's class. What do you mean you've never done tap before? I mean, I've never been to a tap class before. Like, I've literally been to 4 tap classes in my entire life. I don't know what the hell you just said. And she was like, what? Like 10 minutes that happened. So I'd done all of that apart from tap dancing. We were super lucky at my high school. We got this amazing singing teacher, Alison Price-Jones, who's one of the founder members of Opera North. Her husband had been the conductor for Opera North and the Northern Orchestral Enterprises for decades and decades, you know, forever. John Price-Jones had been like, they're both massive names, you know, so this incredible international soprano turns up at our school to teach flute and singing. Okay, yeah, I'm all right with that. That's okay with me. I can totally get on board with this. Thanks, guys. And she was amazing, created loads of different opportunities for everybody, ran loads of different choirs and vocal groups and vocal arrangement groups and stuff like that. So, I mean, immensely lucky to have somebody like that just pop into your school. Hiya, you all right? Let's teach you how to sing properly, because right now, not so much. You're all right. You need a bit more help. So she was great. Then I went to university, did a degree in dance and drama. It ended up being dance with drama because I took music electives as well. So I was doing like 20th century music, really, really hard art music, you know, like no key, it's atonal, the time signature changes constantly through the music. Like one of the pieces that I did was John Cage, She's Asleep, and the piano is a prepared piano, so there's you put bits of rubber in between all the strings, and there's no words, and you know, so it's really hard music. And that sort of set me up to be able to then, you know, take a piece of music and be like, okay, this is fine, I can do this. Yeah, I mean, yeah, fine, this is easy. So again, you know, one of those things that sort of sets you up, and I feel like that's happened a lot in my life, you know, that there's just been something has happened to help set me up ready for, oh, now this is happening. Oh, well, actually, I have these skills because I did all of this crazy stuff before. So I've been super, super lucky. My course was really academic, though. You know, there was lots of writing, lots of reading, very little physically doing, very much. So you know, if you want to be a performer, I would encourage you to go to a conservatoire. Don't mess around, because otherwise you have to work 100 times harder than everybody else, which is good because I don't mind hard work, so that's fine. I was in everybody's directing piece. I was in everybody's choreography. And if I wasn't in their choreography, I was running the lighting and the sound for their choreography, because I'd made sure that, you know, I'd got to second year and I was like, unless I'm really capable in all aspects of the job, I don't stand a hope in hell. And I think being like that really stood me in good stead to then go and do other jobs. You seem like a good investment here. Ooh, we'll keep you for a while. And then I did various jobs. I worked in North Wales. My first job after uni was in North Wales, teaching dance. So I was the dance development officer for Anglesey. So I was doing community workshops with adults, kids, community groups, different venues. And when I got there, they were just starting a taster scheme. So that meant that, you know, I would go in and I would teach. I think I did like free, I think they got 3 hours or 4 hours or something of my time in their school for, you know, whichever year groups they wanted. So consequently, I went into every single school in Anglesey, and there's like 56 or something different schools in Anglesey, which you would not think for such a small place. But some of those schools have like 20 kids in them. So, you know, which was great. That was a really, really brilliant experience. That was with Downsy Baub. I learned how to teach in Welsh. So it was hard. And when I arrived as well, a bright red Mini with a Union Jack on the roof. And Sinead, who was the administrator at the time, she was like, Owen Bach, is that your car? You need to take that off the roof. And I was like, why? They'll smash it up. Oh, okay, let's get it off quick. Oh my God. I was making work up there and performing and doing other kinds of things, but more kind of contemporary theatre stuff, you know, so it was, and that was where my main sort of focus was. But then at the same time, I was doing bits and pieces of drag as well. So I was kind of flipping in and out of doing this. Okay, today we're a dance animator development officer, and tonight I'm going to do some drag. Ah. So, and I just kept doing, you know, a real diverse section of work. And that's kind of what I've done the entire time, is because I get sort of bored, really. So I'd gone out to Ibiza a couple of years later. I'd done dance company, TIE company, traveling up and down all around the UK and Ireland. And then I disappeared for 6 months to Ibiza to work out there. And it was the same show, 7 nights a week for 6 whole months. So by the time you get back, you're like, I never, ever, ever want to do any of those numbers again. Well, then I was out of work for the next 6 months. So I had to go back. There was no choice. I was like, oh, I've got to do all these same numbers again. Oh! But it was a great training ground out there. That was a great training ground. Like, depending on where you were in the season. So May, you would start May and kind of early June. It's all Spanish people. They hated the show because they didn't understand any of it. Of course, it's all in English. Why are we doing an English show for Spanish people? Weird. And like, there was about 3 numbers in it that didn't have, you know, that were just dance numbers. Like we did the can-can. So that was okay because they were like, oh, it's this French thing. Great. Lovely. So nice that you put some flamenco in your show.
Awkward.
Coming here, taking our jobs. Which is basically what we were. You know, we were those terrible British expat. We're going to do a show for British people. I was very conscious of that. So I did that for a couple of years. That was just great training ground for learning really how to structure a show and how to deliver it. So they don't want anything highbrow. They don't want anything that's going to make them think. They want pure ridiculous comedy, and it has to keep moving. So that was actually really good training, even though it was like working in a factory, you know. Here's the same thing again. Oh, there's that box of links. There's that box of links. There's that, you know, it was very that. My husband is Australian by birth. So Brexit's coming. We were like, oh, maybe we should. So we looked at Australia to move to, and did all of the visa and all of that stuff. And then we got there and he was like, actually, it's boring. I don't want to live here. And I was like, oh, I kind of like the pace of life out here. I think I could enjoy it here. He was like, no, we're not living here. So instead, we moved to Manchester. And that's when my drag career really took off. Yeah.
So there was no doubt then that you were going to go into entertainment. There wasn't another, like a backup.
I'd been teaching, and I spent 4 years in a high school teaching as well, which again gave me so many different skills that I didn't have. Just being patient, for one thing. I was probably the least patient person. I'm still not that patient, but I with people that I don't know or people who are, you know, clearly struggling, I am definitely more patient than I ever was. So for instance, like one of the kids, and he tells me this story all the time, and Tom, I'm really sorry that this happened. He was really disruptive in an after school class, and I said to him, listen, if you're going to continue to behave like a prick, you're going to have to leave. He's like, year 8.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody in the room was like, everything. Oh my God, it was terrible. And then for the rest, like, Tom is so lovely. He's such a lovely, I mean, he's 20 now, so, you know, and every time I'd see him in the corridor, he'd say, do you remember when you called me that? And I said, I don't know what you're talking about, Tom. I don't know what you're talking about.
Fair enough. Did it work though?
Yeah, he wasn't so bad then. He was fine then after
There
that.
we go.
Do not do that to children. It's not appropriate. Really unhelpful. After I'd finished there, I was really terrified actually, because I thought, you know, I've just given up this job, which actually is regular money. It's quite stressful. Like working in a high school is stressful. But then the prospect of earning no money, even more stressful. But I've just been super, super lucky. Like within the space of 3-4 weeks of leaving, I was offered 2 nights in Manchester and a night in Llandudno. So, you know, and if you allow the world and you ask it, most of the time it's there and it will help you. It's maybe not what you were expecting or what you were wanting, but it will be there. You just have to be listening. That's been my experience anyway.
Experiences that have been a bit more public then. So in terms of your TV appearances.
I'd done loads and loads of those terrible talent shows. I'd done loads of them. So really the first one that I was shown on was The Voice. I went and did The Voice, and I went in with the express intention of nobody turning around. You know, so in my psych evaluation, I'm saying to, you know, she's going, so how do you feel about this? And I'm like, well, I know why I'm here. I'm here as like the comedy relief, and I'm not expecting to go anywhere. I would rather I didn't. I would rather nobody turned around and I can just sing my song, and then I can go away and be like, oh, I did this. Wasn't it fun? Because more people would talk about that and the fact that they didn't turn around than if I went out in week 2. No one would care. Nobody cares if you go out in week 2. Sorry about it, everybody who gets kicked out in week 2. But that's the fact. Whereas if you're somebody who goes in and it actually, it's not bad. It's, you know, it's all right, this. And then they don't turn around, then there's more of a fuss about it.
If such poor love was mine, then help me find God is who mine will make it thine. Take heart, no greater loss, take heart, that is no shine, take any heart, take mine.
so that happened first, and they treated me really, really, really nicely. I could not have been treated better by that company in that process, whereas the other companies and the other processes are horrendous. All of those things are absolutely. After The Voice, I did some little bits and pieces for Channel 4, doing idents, and then I think that we did 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown next. I think it was either that or All Together Now. Maybe it was All Together Now. I don't know. Either way, 8 out of 10 Cats, really, really good fun. Somehow we were on the all-woman special. I don't know how that happened. I think somebody wasn't told exactly what they were getting before the three of us turned up. But it was me, Miss Very Cherry, and Ginger Hunter, and I've worked with them loads and loads and loads in Manchester, doing all kinds of things, performing all over the place, you know, on tours and crazy stuff. And genuinely two of the best people to work with. Professional, on time, know what they're doing, serve it every time, you know. All Together Now was an amazing experience. 100 different music professionals all judging at the same time. And just being in a room with 100 other professionals is rare. It's not something that happens very often, you know, because most of the time, especially as a drag queen, you're a self-contained show. So you're with your suitcase and your wig box and off you go, do your show, and then I'll go home now, thanks, bye. So you very rarely even get to see anybody else's show, you know, because I'm traveling to, I don't know, Wolverhampton to do a show. Well, there's nothing else. I am what's happening in Wolverhampton that night, you know, in terms of drag queens. So I can't go and watch anybody else because there's nobody here. So that was amazing, just to get to spend some time with other industry professionals and look at, you know, their practice and their ideas and all of that stuff.
What's Jerry Halliwell like? She...
You know what? She's really lovely and nice. Nice is the word I would use to describe her. There is no more Ginger Spice. She's dead. Yeah, she's dead. She's been set on fire and left in a box, just a pile of ash and a ginger wig.
R.I.P.
Yeah, she's really taken to motherhood, I think, and gone, okay, actually, this is what I want. I want to be a mother, and like the most lovely, nurturing, sweet mother that I can be. So, you know, a lot of that cheekiness and naughtiness that she had as Ginger Spice, I think it feels like, you know, she's left that behind her now, and she's something else. Yeah. But honestly, really lovely, genuinely really lovely. She actually made the effort, you know, she's a megastar, like, you know, she is big time star, the most successful outside of the band, as well as having written most of the songs and the tunes, and, you know, she was the driving force really musically. She came down and made sure that she said hello to everybody. So she walked along the road by herself, no security or none of that. You know, she just came to say, hi, I just wanted to say hello. How are you? And what is it? Where are you working? So she spent some time to say hello to everybody, which actually she didn't need to do. She didn't have to do that. And then she hand wrote a card to everybody on both seasons as well. Yeah, I know. And then I've lost it. I've got a goddamn Spice Girl signature on 2 cards and lost them. Damn it!
They'll be somewhere in your makeup box or your wig, one of the wig boxes somewhere.
Yeah, possibly.
It will be somewhere. You wouldn't have thrown it out.
I wouldn't have, but my husband, yeah, he would throw that out. He just throws everything out. It's his thing. when I was going to Ibiza, I'd keep my money, you know, once you've done your exchange, I keep the money inside the wallet. So I'd put the money inside the wallet and I said, right, my money is in here. Do not throw it away. What did he do? He threw it in the bin. He threw all my euros in the bin. I thought they were rubbish. I didn't look inside. It's just an envelope left on the side. I threw it in the bin. I spent 4 hours pulling the house apart. What am I doing with it? Where is it? It was underneath a tin of beans. It was covered in bean juice. I was furious.
Oh dear.
And then, of course, after All Together Now comes RuPaul's Drag Race, which I think I did all right to say that I was mental on the show. Completely mental. I was so stressed the entire time and literally feeling like at any point somebody's going to go, I'm really sorry, we meant a different Divina. She's here. You need to get your stuff and leave. Like the entire time thinking that that was going to happen. I don't know why I was so stressed as well. I don't like competitions, full stop. Like I don't find them very helpful to me. But I, you know, it's that balancing, weighing up between, okay, this is going to be however long of hell being in a competition situation, but then what are the payoffs? Are they worth it? Which on the second day, the second week, I nearly left. You know, I'm stood on the stage crying and thinking, they've slagged off my outfit, they've slagged off my makeup, they've slagged off our performance, we're in the bottom. I feel really responsible for that because I've had more experience theatre-wise than any of these other people. Why am I doing this to myself? You know, so that's why I'm going, I was not going to be this girl. So I nearly left then. I was like, oh, do I really want to put myself through this? Or do I want to just go, actually, guys, this isn't for me. Thanks. But then after, you know, it's been great. I've had such a really lovely reception from the public. Like, genuinely, so lovely. Unbelievably so. I've had, you know, probably 5 messages where people have been like, you're a, you know, trolling. But in terms of Drag Race, that's nobody. You didn't get any trolling at all. You know, some girls get real bad trolling from people, and I just didn't. And so I'm enormously grateful for that because I was so fragile as well afterwards. I was mental. Yeah, so if that had happened, I would have been like crying every night going, they hate me. So thank you to everybody who didn't troll me. I'm in a much more stable place now. So if you were wanting to troll me now, that's okay. I can deal with it. I'd rather you didn't, but you know, if you feel the need, now's the time.
So social media then, do you rate it or not?
It can be really helpful. It can be really useful. Quite often it's not. You have to use social media rather than allow it to use you, which in terms of like how politics is functioning now and all the conspiracy theories and the anti-vax movement and Brexit and the rise in the far right and anti-LGBT sentiments and actions and, you know, all of this stuff has unfortunately been fueled by social media because it's so much easier to put lies out and for it not to be quantified properly. You know, we now unfortunately also have some of the least trusted press in the world. Not great for democracy, that you have to have a press which is honest and truthful, you know, as much as it ever has been, because otherwise then people, you know, get themselves on YouTube and go, oh, the earth is flat. I never knew. They've been lying to me. Now it all makes sense. It's all a lie. I actually do know people who think that the world is flat, that the Queen is a lizard, that everybody in Hollywood is trans, that Angelina Jolie, trans, Brad Pitt, trans, that the QAnon stuff is true, that Hillary Clinton really was running a child sex grooming ring out of the basement of a pizza shop that has never had a basement because it's on a concrete base. I mean, if your conspiracy falls apart at the first piece of evidence, it's probably not true, guys. So I think social media can be great. And there's some amazing people on there, like TikTok. The people that I like to look at on TikTok are the people that I find inspiring. I'm not that into watching Grandma Maud doing. I don't care about that. I'm really sorry. I'm glad that she's doing her exercise. I'm not interested in seeing that, though. The people that I love to see on TikTok are the people like the gymnastics people and the circus performers. And they're on like the Wheel of Death, and there's 4 of them on this massive steel ring. And then they're doing the things on the seesaw things, jumping up and down and landing on top of each other. Like, that is the stuff that I watch and I go, oh, this is just the feat of human ingenuity and ability is mind-blowingly amazing. That's the stuff that I love seeing on social media. That's not necessarily the stuff that I'm able to put out. You won't find me dancing around on a huge steel ring. I'm not. I'm the fear has got me now. I'm too old. I mean, it's what happens though, isn't it? I'm terrified of even attempting to do a death drop in case I pop my hip.
I have a 3-year-old, and there is no fear in children.
No.
There is no fear in children. I don't remember ever not having fear. But yeah, she'll throw herself around, and I'm sure if she sees some of these videos that you've mentioned,
She'd
she'll
have
be
a
like,
go.
"Mummy, can I do that?" She's actually started going to acro dance.
Yes!
In a way, yeah, I know, amazing. Harwood dance, amazing. Acro dance for toddlers, and it's a way of her being able to throw herself around but being safe about it.
Yeah, gorgeous, wonderful.
Yeah.
What just a great time,
Oh, so fun.
Have
And
a
she gets to
lovely
wear
time.
a sparkly turquoise leotard with like sequins on. It's heavenly.
Who does not want to wear a sparkly turquoise leotard? Who does not want that? In fact, I have 3 at home, so.
Why aren't you wearing one today?
Oh, because I came in my Christmas jumper because it's
Christmas! It's far too cold for a leotard. Fair enough. Good answer. Good answer. Right, so let's round this off with some Divina De Campo advice.
Because it's Christmas, my main piece of advice is a shameless plug. You should go and download my EP, Red and Silver, which is a Christmas EP.
And the link will be up there. Okay, well, thank you so much for spending your Christmas week with me.
Thank you so much for having me. A joy.
Yay!
A joy to be here.
Merry Christmas!
And you. And a happy new year.
Put your favorite drag queen on your Christmas tree and have a red and silver Christmas with me. With red and silver, and I will deliver. Put your favorite drag queen on your Christmas tree and have